Reeds and woodwinds. Laugh in the face of society's outdated sexual mores. Pursue the passion of your wooden loins. And I don't care if she's a cold-hearted robot. I love her, and you can't stop me.
Because it's time to talk Tull to me. You know, they called me old Wooden Loins McGill in high school.
They sure did.
Because
Many a lass has had a splinter.
I had a sliver.
I am programmed to love.
I don't know what love is, but I do it anyway.
Welcome back. I am Omen Say.
And I am Nick McGill.
Together we are Feckless Moans.
And this is Talk Tull to Me.
A forbidden romance in the underground love clubs of prog rock, in which Wrong Side of the Tracks Nick and the boy your mama warned you about, Omen, will relentlessly pursue every single track that coquettish prog rock band Jethro Tull ever produced. We will stand outside Jeffrey Hammond's window in the rain with a cassette tape blaster above our heads. We will see a whole new world as Dee Palmer takes us on a magic carpet ride. And our love affair with Martin Barr will end badly in the Capulet's crypt, all because Friar Anderson didn't deliver a message in time.
That's the last time I trust him to deliver anything.
He's terrible.
He's late. He gets distracted very easily.
He does. So hi, Nick.
Hello, Omen. Hello. This marks the first episode recorded after you survived your race.
Yes, I am back from Vermont and the Spartan Beast Half Marathon.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually see and or hear.
Oh,
this is my medal.
It's just two spoons, everybody. He's just clinking two spoons together. Don't believe it.
Yeah. I'm increasingly of the opinion that I might have slightly broken some of my toes. But other than that, I feel great, except exhausted.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds fairly accurate.
So, Nick, before we dive into today's exciting triple feature of Tull pieces, what do we have before that?
Before that, we have ourselves, while we have a triple feature of songs, we have a double feature of reviews.
Sir, sensors have detected another star in the sky.
Dear Lord, that's 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars.
Mathematically, it is indeed 10 stars.
Wow. Yeah, a 10-star review. It's never happened before.
It's the first time, folks. I'm so glad we could share it with you.
Grinner4 from Apple Podcasts in the United States of America writes, playing catch up. 5 stars. This is a song-by-song review of all Jethro Tull's studio albums, from this was in 1968 to the present. The hosts, Nick McGill and Omen Sade, are admittedly not experts, but rather Tull aficionados. They offer factual content, usually correct, analysis, often insightful, and personal opinions, entertaining, about each song. I'm holding my ultimate opinion on the podcast until I've caught up. Just as the hosts played catch-up on the music, coming to their Tull fandom decades after the music's release, I have come late to the podcast. I'm presently 6 albums in, thick as a brick, whereas Omen and Nick are on the 13th release. Are we really? My God, who let us continue this long? As they have developed some momentum on this significant undertaking, I've noted greater accuracy and depth over their first year. I'll not now call them out on something they may remedy by addenda or later commentary. My critique is likely explained by a generational difference.
Yes.
I'm a vinyl contemporary, whereas our hosts came to prog rock in the CD age. That said, I'm learning things about music I've been listening to since I was a teenager over 50 years ago, and I'm inspired to rethink some of what I've long believed about Anderson's lyrics and the band's music. I'm also looking forward to being exposed to the albums released after my listening and purchase of Tull had waned. The last I purchased, Heavy Horses. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Omen. Talk on. We'll listen on.
Thank you, Jagriner. Jagriner? That sounds unpleasant. Thank you so much for writing in. Thank you for your patience and understanding in the fact that we are not perfect in any way, shape, or form. We are
experts.
We are not experts. We are constantly being schooled by our listeners, and we greatly appreciate that, and we highly encourage that to be continued.
But we are aficionados, and we do love it, and we love it when people write in, and it's so satisfying to hear that, if we can help you see a Tull song in a slightly new light, then I feel like our mission has been accomplished.
Agreed. And on top of that, I realize it's been a very long time since we dropped our email. So if you do want to send us an email, if you have a complaint, an addenda yourself, if you have info about a certain thing, or you just want to give us your jumpstart, we haven't had any jumpstarts recently.
Or send us pictures from the Tull days.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And Fergal sent us some pictures from the Isle of Skye just today. We'll
get to that.
Yeah, it was great. But our email address is momes@fecklessmomes.com. It's very simple.
That's MOMES, Momes.
You get another gold star, but you only get 2 per day, Omen, so don't try it again.
I won't try to spell feckless. So thank you, Jagriner. We hope that we can catch up to each other in the present soon, and thank you for your review.
Absolutely. And to round that out, we have one from Asheresk as well. Omen, if you please.
Asheresk in the United States of America writes, points for erudition. Am I saying
You just
that right?
lost all the points that we had. Erudition.
Points for erudition. I am really loving Talk Tull to Me! ! The two hosts are uncommonly well-spoken and clever, and they really bring it in terms of research. I finally understand One White Duck. I especially enjoyed the episode on Wondering Aloud. When I was 16, I caught Tull at Nassau Coliseum, and I will never forget when he opened in the raucous hockey arena with that gentle acoustic song and won the crowd right over. Ian Anderson always had a rare talent for intimacy. I don't know if his wife would agree with you. And this podcast has a gentle intimacy to match.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Asheresk.
It's been so long since I've been called gently
intimate.
Yes. It's been so long since I've been gently intimate.
Nassau Coliseum, right down the road from my alma mater, Hofstra, literally like a stone's throw away.
Yeah, on the Long Island.
On the Long Island, Hempstead. Also, the uncommonly well-spoken part, like I'm going back and re-listening, I'm binging our episodes for scientific purposes. It's not just to re-listen to them.
Yeah.
I'm noting all of the music that we've ever used, and I'm making sure everybody gets proper accreditation. So that's why I'm doing it. But I'm also enjoying it. But I also realize, boy, our vocabulary, it big. We talk big, Omen.
We know big word.
We know big word, and we use big word.
Sometimes correctly.
Well, thank you, Asheresk. Thank you, Jagriner. Greatly appreciated. Did you wince at Jagriner? Is that what that was? I know. It's screen names. When it comes to screen names, it is only a best guess. That's the best I can do.
Thank you for the stars. You are truly the stars in the constellation of our night sky.
That's right. We got one more thing before we get into the songs for this week. I don't think we have.
Okay.
I don't think we have a news sting. Maybe we'll find a news sting or something. But I've got an article from the Reading Chronicle, which dropped on September 10th. The headline is Jethro Tull singer speaks before playing live show in Reading. Not a thrilling grab, I'll tell you, but
Well, Reading where?
This is the UK. It's readingchronicle.co.uk. So
That reminds me of an old Groucho Marx line. Before I speak, I have something important to say.
yeah, he does. Before he flutes, he has something important to say. So the whole The whole article's like, it's a great interview with Ian, as usual. He talks about his COPD. He talks about being back in Reading, lockdown, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing that I want to talk about, and I will post the article in the show notes. But the thing that I want to talk about is the last question. How would you describe the latest unreleased album, The Zealot Gene?
Oh.
Quote from Ian. It's a project that began in 2016, and in 2017 we recorded 7 backing tracks, completing 4 of those songs shortly after. But we had another busy year in 2018 as we had released a string quartet album. So I stopped working on the new band album, and given all the tours, I was pretty tied up. I thought I'd get back to it and finish it off, but when COVID came on, I lived in hope for a year that things would calm down and I'd be able to get back together in the studio. But that clearly wasn't something any of us would be happy about. I decided to finish it on my own and invited the other musicians with contributions they sent to me, nobody edits anymore. It's ridiculous. Recorded in their own homes. So the final 5 tracks of the album were put together in a slightly less than live setting, but were finished a few months ago. Unfortunately, we have to wait until the release date in January.
Wow, that's amazing. I did not realize that they were working on it in that way. I mean, of course it makes sense.
Yeah.
COVID has really messed us all around.
Yeah.
And continues to, unfortunately.
But also gone are the years of like, all right, let's bang out an album in 2 months and then tour for it.
Yeah, or a couple weeks.
A couple weeks, yeah. Yeah, bonkers. But that's a little insight, not necessarily into the content or context of the album itself, but a little info into the making, the behind the scenes,
Fascinating to hear how it's coming together in the current context. That's really cool. Really good find, Nick.
Right, behind the flute. And I have that to thank for, I forget who said it. Was it JK? Was it somebody recommended setting up a Google alert for Jethro Tull? So I get a daily alert of all the Jethro Tull news that drops all over the internet. Most of it is trash, but that was a good one.
All over the internet.
All over the internet. It's usually like one story or two. And it's usually the same story over a couple of days. But that one was valuable. That was good.
Nice. So, Nick.
Omen.
What is the first track that we have the pleasure of listening to and subsequently talking Tull about today?
Well, I was going to give you the option to choose which one you wanted to listen to first.
Good.
The pressure's on. I mean, I could randomly pick one, but...
I think we should listen to Lyricon Blues.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. Let us listen first to the Lyricon Blues.
Wow.
The psychedelic Lyricon Blues, 5 minutes and 15 seconds.
Amazing. Nick, what do you make of it? First impressions.
If that's the blues, that's the blues that I would like to listen to. That's the blues filtered through Tull, so it's mostly Tull, but there's like the elements of blues in there. I'm good with that. I'm good with that kind of blues.
It's a little bit of a throwback to the kind of mid-70s Tull, where they were really still influenced by the blues.
Yeah, but it definitely has more of their matured flavor to it, though. There's more present at time of recording. There's more of their maturity in the production as opposed to the really messy, sloppy blues that they released. Yeah, the raw that they started with. Yeah.
But it's got a little dose of that raw feeling, which is really nice to hear.
Yeah, some funk. Yeah.
Especially as it is, as you say, tempered by that maturity.
Yeah.
I think that the structure is of a blues song, but the playing is kind of a mix of rock and roll, jazz, prog. I mean, that kind of that fusion, which is really what we know as prog rock. So it's a delightful mix.
Yeah.
Now, Nick, when I first read the title of this song, I misread it as Lycorn Blues. And as I'm sure all of our listeners will know, Lycorn is the French word for unicorn.
Oh.
And I thought, oh, what a fun title that is.
And that would have been perfect paired with Unicorn Battle.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
But then I thought, well, what is a Lyricon?
What, in fact, is a Lyricon, Omen?
Well, Nick, do you remember the Claghorn?
I do. Is this a baby of the Claghorn?
Do you remember Mellotron?
I knew it. When you texted me yesterday and said, do you remember the Claghorn? I went back and I listened to this. I was like, what is he getting at? And I have it in my notes. Continue.
Somehow, in some tequila-crazed night, the Claghorn and the Mellotron were left unattended and made a beautiful bastard child. And that child is the Lyricon. It is an electric wind instrument, the first wind controller to exist. It was invented by Bill Bernardi and co-engineered by Roger Noble with Chuck Greenberg, who was one of the kind of early proponents and performers of the Lyricon. It was manufactured in Massachusetts by Computone Inc. in the early 70s. And it essentially, it had the head of an alto saxophone, but instead of it actually producing a sound with the reed, it had a lip pressure detector.
Oh.
Like a sprung metal sensor in the
Sure.
reed that detected lip pressure, which of course in a regular clarinet, I'm sorry, it was a bass clarinet mouthpiece. In a regular clarinet, that's how you control the tone.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And it had a diaphragm which sensed the amount of air that was being pushed into it. It came along, so it's this kind of weird, it looks like a half of a bass flute with a bass saxophone head stuck onto it. And then it comes along with a control board, which is where all the information is read and transformed into sound. So it's kind of a manually operated synthesizer, and it allows a huge amount of control over the tone. It has toggles where you can switch between different keys automatically without having to change your fingering.
Wow.
And it's an incredibly sensitive instrument. If you go and listen to some of the stuff that's on YouTube, just type in Lyricon to YouTube. There's some delightful stuff. Some of the prominent Lyriconists listed on Wikipedia are Roland Kirk.
Who's number one on that list, though?
I will get there.
Okay.
Roland Kirk, Yusuf Lateef, Kenny G.
Kenny G.
You may have heard of
Yep,
him.
yep.
A bunch of other people. And the first person listed, although probably it's because of alphabetical order, is Ian Anderson.
Oh, I think it is actually. Oh, no, because Michael Urbaniak is above Yusuf Lateef. So it's not. It's not. I wonder why that was ordered.
Yeah, it's almost in alphabetical order. Any rate, it's a beautiful, weird instrument, and I am curious to know what other tracks it may have already been on that escaped our detection,
I know, right?
or it will be on that we'll have to listen out for.
Yeah, it's got this like psychedelic, mesmeric sound that tied with all of the kind of the sweeping background of the rest of the band. It creates this bizarre, like foggy headspace for me. It's very unnatural, and not in a bad way, but it's very unnatural.
There's something just different enough about it that makes you kind of get into a funky funk. And I love the way that the Lyricon and Martin's guitar kind of serpentine along with each other and create this, what did you say, mesmeric feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. I posit a theory, though, as to why it is over 5 minutes long. I think
Why is that?
I think they rented it for a day, and Ian really wanted to get the most out of the Lyricon before he had to return it.
He didn't own it?
He didn't. No, he didn't. He only used it once. And wasn't there another song? Oh, it feels like it's a while ago. I feel like there was another song that used just a single, like an instrument for one instance, and we never heard it again. And we kind of placed it in this category of like, oh, well, let's do this because we can, not because we want to like really pursue it, you know?
Right. Well, that's what I'm so curious about. How many other instances of the Lyricon do we have?
Yeah, did it sneak under? Now, is the Lyricon, it is clearly prominent in this song, but is there, to me, it's taking the place of keyboard.
I think it's taking the place of both the keyboard and the flute.
Oh, and the flute, obviously, yeah. Yeah, but like, is there no keyboard in this and it's all just Lyricon? Like, it's very difficult to tell.
It's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say. And especially as the keyboard is going more toward the synth sound at this time,
yeah, of course.
You could be forgiven for mistaking one for the other. I mean,
yeah, this is one of those relatively rare instances of Jethro Tull songs where you can't really always pick out individual pieces and individual instruments. It's fairly muddy, this song, I find. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's just, this is one of those times.
I would say smoky.
Yeah, hazy. There's a haze.
And part of that is caused by the Lyricon control board catching on fire.
He was rocking so hard.
So hard.
They told him not to, but he did it anyway.
Don't take it past 10. No, I was going to say, seriously, that the part of it is caused by the fact that you can, with a foot pedal, switch between octaves on the Lyricon. So you can take it up to that flute space, and you can drop it down to, to octaves that are only naturally being, able to be played by the bass or the piano. So it's fabulous. I'm so curious to learn more about this instrument. I'm pretty sure they're no longer manufactured. I think there may be some kind of descendants of them that still exist, but it was pre-MIDI.
Oh, cool. Okay. So that was, I mean, back in what, 80, 78? What is it, roughly? Or so? Yeah.
And Computone went out of business in 1980.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's a cool instrument. It's a cool sound. Very much so. Yeah.
Nick?
Yeah.
What is the next song to which we have the pleasure of listening?
Let's do my entire high school career and listen to A Single Man.
That's not the way I remember it, but yes, let's play it.
Half as long.
Half as long and twice as many notes.
Twice as good, I would say.
Well, that's subjective. What is your impression? First, what images occur to your mind when this song plays into your ears, Nick?
Particularly when it starts, that John's piano is just, it's so haunting. It's so good. And then it rips into this like really kind of cinematic. It feels like it ought to be on like a movie soundtrack. This feels like a montage song to me for some reason.
Yeah,
like an 80s montage.
Knight Rider.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why. I don't know. There must be some thematic elements that they share that I'm just not aware of. But it feels, it's got such an 80s like epic sound to it. You know, we're training or
Yeah,
we're
totally.
preparing for the bank heist or something. It's silly, but
Getting
it's
ready
fun.
to run the Spartan half
Yeah,
marathon.
there you go. You should have just listened to that on loop for the
Just
7
once.
hours.
Oh, that's all I
that's
would've
all you
needed.
needed. Yeah.
Listen to it once. I'd be perfectly in shape. I love John's piano at the beginning. I am
It's so good.
in love with the weird intro where you hear the tape like being too fast and then being slowed down, and then you hear John Evans say, "This is John. I'm starting."
No, it's
soon."
all right. This is me, John. I'm starting soon.
I love that he
It's
doesn't,
so-
instead of giving a count in, instead of like 1, 2, 3.
I mean-
he's like, I'll start here in a moment.
Just think of all the pictures of John, though. You know, like that
No, it
matches
fits
with his
perfectly.
personality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, this is me, John. I'm starting soon.
And it does feel like, you've used this image a number of times of the lone musician in the spotlight on the stage, and it really feels like that. It almost feels like the band found him playing this incredible semi-classical riff,
Yeah.
and then it was like, oh, we should start playing as well.
Well, yeah, it's that perfect instance, and I know we've heard it in other songs. I can't think off the top of my head, and I know we've seen it in concert where it's either the opener of the first act or the second act where one person comes out and starts playing, and it's one of those perfect pieces where everybody slowly filters in and starts playing on top
it's
of
very
everything.
theatrical.
Yeah.
It's not. It's probably been done so many times that it's almost a cliche now, but it works. There's something wonderful about it.
It really does, yeah.
As our writer-inner said, Ian, in a hockey stadium on Long Island, coming out with an acoustic guitar and winning everyone
Yeah.
over just totally by himself.
Opening with Wondering Aloud, yeah, just insane, yeah.
And then when the rest of the band kicks in, you lose your frickin' mind.
Yeah. Particularly in general, but also this song. I mean, the piano rips, the bass is amazing, the drums. We've got this is some quintessential Martin in this song. It's such
Yes.
Martin guitar, and it's so good.
It's primo 80s Martin guitar. You just want to chop that guitar riff out into little lines on a mirror and get it right up your
I was
nose.
gonna say I wanted to slather it on toast, but that works too.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah, however you want to ingest that.
Whatever breakfast looks like. for
Why
you.
are you putting butter up your nose? I mean, that's my concern.
I have very dry sinuses.
We have 2 tracks or 2 instances of both flute and electric in here.
Yes.
And they cram so much. I mean, the first half of the song is just that gorgeous piano. So the second half, a minute 15 or so, is this cacophony, and it's so good. It's so good.
There's something I can't quite figure out, and that's the second tune that John Evan plays. He does that. That's from a classical piece of music. That's directly ripped off.
Yeah.
And I cannot for the life of me remember what it is.
Well, speaking of tune, like, I love the tune of this song. Like, it's really good. That dun 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 dun, and it feels like Martin's part actually feels like it's playing off of something. I want to say it's like a vocal part of a previous Tull song, but I cannot, for the life of me, place it.
It's very catchy.
Yeah,
It's very, very catchy.
yeah. And it being an instrumental, he is playing that lyric part, which is a nice change because normally it's Ian playing the lyric part on the flute. But this is a potent song. I really do enjoy this one.
Now, the bass could conceivably be played either by Glasscock or by Ian,
Sure.
because this was presumably recorded around the time that they were gearing up for Stormwatch.
Yep.
And so,
Ian.
we don't know, was it recorded after John was dismissed for health reasons, which we'll talk about in the next album.
Yeah.
But either way, I love the slide.
Yeah.
My inclination is to say that it is John.
I know. I think Ian is pretty elementary on the guitar. He does have a quote. I think I have it for the Stormwatch pieces, but he does have a quote. It's like, every guitar player thinks he can pick up a bass, but really they're just playing a simple bass line, whereas something like what John can do is above and beyond.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And that's why I do think it's probably John in this case.
Exactly.
I could be wrong, but it does seem a little bit more masterful. But I love when he does dum 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 dum, and it slides all the way down to hell.
Yeah, down to hell with John. I'll go with John. Yeah.
I would go. I would ride the bass elevator.
It's a long trip. There's no air conditioning.
Only goes one way.
And it only goes one way. Yeah.
I think it's in 4/4 after the rest of the band comes in.
Yeah. Once you have to pick a time signature so everybody can follow along. Not that kind of like wavy up and down, loosey-goosey that John does on the piano. Gosh, he is good. He is so good on the piano. He really is.
I had a friend in Paris who was an amazing musician. He was his primary instrument was the marimba, but he played anything with keys.
Cool.
Very, very well.
Yeah.
And at various points, we were rehearsing music for the shows that we were creating at school. And he always would crack me up because he's one of these people who's he was such a musician. He was so facile with everything that he often wouldn't account for the fact that other people were, just sort of happened to play an instrument.
Yeah, right.
And so whereas most people would count in 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe 2, 3, 4, he would literally go 4, start playing. It's everyone else would sort of, oh God, try to catch up.
The beat is only in your head. No one else can tell.
That's true. So I feel like John Evan is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Here I go.
Soon.
At some point.
Yeah. Let's ride in on our gleaming horses into Unicorn Battle.
Oh, let's do.
Woo! That's a spicy unicorn meatball.
I almost caught it. I almost caught the unicorn.
You can try to ride the unicorn, but you'll never land safely. That's what they say.
Once you ride a unicorn, you're always chasing that feeling for the rest of your life.
The closest you can get is an abarth, but it's not quite it.
The horn keeps falling off. Nick, impressions about this song?
This is an epic oral feast. It is an epic electric oral feast. It's something. I see Gandalf riding in on Halifax or whatever his horse is.
Yeah.
Starfax. I don't remember the name.
Halifax?
No.
Shadowfax.
Shadowfax. I knew there was a fax in there somewhere.
Halifax. I see Gandalf riding to Halifax and
on his
realizing there's nothing to do
on his
there.
unicorn. Yeah, it's a fun song. It's a really, really rockin', rippin' fun song. It feels epically. It feels appropriately named, I would say.
Tell me more about that.
I don't know. I mean, and maybe it's just because it's named Unicorn Battle, so I'm seeing this, but it feels kind of like epic metal almost. I picture an orc battle going on while people are riding in on unicorns and limbs are being hacked off with glaives and things,
There is something just gloriously 80s about this.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this is the kind of, like, even just the song title is the kind of thing that Spinal Tap was making fun of.
Sure. Yeah, and this itself may be a little tongue in cheek, maybe taking the piss out of something like Led Zeppelin, because they were deep into this. Yeah.
Or it could be a genuine tribute to the ferocious and pure nobility of the unicorn.
It's possible.
And the fact is, it works on all of those levels simultaneously.
It does.
And I think that's what's so fun about it, is that like you can listen to this and guiltlessly imagine yourself as a unicorn in battle or riding a unicorn into battle.
Yeah.
While still kind of acknowledging that it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It really is. And I think it might be one of those instances where you get to pick what it is. It's one of those instances where Ian left it so ambiguous that if you asked him in 82, he would have said, oh yeah, it's an embracing of how badass a unicorn is. And if you ask him now, it's like, oh yeah, we were just taking the piss out of Zeppelin. Like he left him all of that room.
And who knows, what did the tune come first? And then later on they were like, oh, we need a song for track number 18 on this list, Unicorn Battle.
Yeah, or like they punched it out. It never landed on anything, but they needed to put a name on there just because it's on the tape, so someone just like pulled it out of nowhere.
Or is it, and equally plausible is that it is a tribute to the national animal of Scotland.
There you go. I forgot about that. Yeah. There's nothing terribly Scottish sounding about this song, but I did hear a little haggis right at the very end, so it's possible.
I think that the opening riff is so unusual. The tune of it, going up those half steps at the end. It creates kind of a sense of suspension and suspense and strangeness.
Well, yeah, it's the anticipation right before going into battle.
Right before the unicorn.
Right before the unicorn. I always anticipate a unicorn. I never get it right, but I anticipate it.
The anticipation is the best part.
Oh, baby. Can we talk about the mandolin in here?
Yeah, so there's the mandolin just coming in for some little tremolos here and there.
Oh, it's pretty prominent in the 3/4 mark, and then it falls away again. There's a part where it's super tremolo-y.
Sure.
But then it does fade back. It's very light in there, comes up for its kind of solo spot, and then it falls away again. But boy, does it contrast really well with Martin's dun 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 dun.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
There's some other fun musical elements. Mm-hmm. The organ, when it comes in kind of doing double time to what everything else is doing, and then later on does those really quick arpeggios, the But it just does it briefly. I almost expect it to last longer, like the mandolin when it comes in. And then it goes away, and I'm like, was that the unicorn?
That's any piece in this is the unicorn. The unicorn is what you want it to be.
It's like that old legend. There are two unicorns in you fighting. Which one do you feed the grass to?
The white one or the black one?
You can cut all of this out. This is total nonsense.
That keyboard, I'm glad you brought up that keyboard. I don't know if it's just like the particular setting that the keyboard's on or something, but if there, even if there was flute, if you played this for me without my knowing it, I would be just as likely to say this was Kansas instead of Tull.
Interesting.
All three of these songs, if I didn't know they were Tull, a single man between Martin's like really prominent guitar and Ian's flute, like I could probably pick that as Tull. But between the Lyricon blues and Unicorn Battle, I think I'd be hard pressed to guess this was Tull.
Speaking of Scotland and the national animal being the unicorn, let's talk about that.
Okay, what do you want to talk about it?
Well, Nick, the concept of the unicorn goes back to ancient times. The Greek spoke about it. The Bible mentions a unicorn, depending on what translation you look at. There were descriptions of a unicorn that existed in India, which may have been the Indian rhino, of course.
Oh, sure, yeah. Can we just do a very super quick etymology? Unicorn obviously means one corn.
Yes, one.
Just an ear of corn.
Corn means yes. In mythology, in Western Europe, the unicorn came to represent purity and masculine fierceness. It was said that cups made of their horn, which were probably actually made of narwhal horns, were, if you drank from them, you'd be impervious to poison.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, a lot of deaths.
Yep.
And in heraldry, the unicorn started to be used as the royal coat of arms for Scotland around the mid-1500s. The fun thing is that the Union of the Crowns in 1603, when King James the Sixth of Scotland became also King James the First of England, he replaced one of the unicorns with a lion.
Yeah.
In an effort to display unity between the two countries. But, of course, mythologically, unicorns and lions have always been enemies.
Oh, snap. Nice try, Jim.
Nice try. That's unicorns.
A unicorn recommendation, if you can get your hands on the book, The Last Unicorn. I grew up with the movie, the Rankin Bass movie, The Last Unicorn, but if you can get yourself the novel, The Last Unicorn, it's a crazy quick read, a novel by Peter S. Beagle. It is a very quick read. It is very good, surprisingly good. I'm reading it to Raven, and it is delightful. Contrary to my belief, it's not from like the 20s or something. Like it's the author, Peter S. Beagle, is still alive. But it's,
oh my,
yeah. But he's written a lot of sci-fi stuff, early sci-fi stuff, and it is a really pleasant read. His grasp of the language is very unique, very poetic, but also there's just such a uniqueness to it that if you got an afternoon to sit around and sit on your sun porch while your cat sunbathes on your lap and read this, like I highly recommend it. It's a great book, great book.
If you ever get the chance to see the amazing tapestry series Le Dame et le Licorne in the Museum of the Middle Ages in Paris, it is also super, super fun.
That translates.
And who doesn't love tapestries?
That translates to that damn unicorn, right?
That damn unicorn. It shows the unicorn in, I believe, 7 different tapestries, each one representing one of the 5 senses. And then some other ones.
And then those other 2 that we just...
And then they were like, hey, keep going.
7's important. Let's add a color to the rainbow. Let's add a couple extra tapestries. Couldn't hurt anything.
Who knows?
Who knows? Omen, of the 3 that we just listened to, the Lyricon Blues, A Single Man, Unicorn Battle, what did you like best? Which one? Like which one spoke to you the most? I mean, I know we don't have time frames, we don't know context or anything, but just of the 3 that we just heard, which one would you go back to first?
I really like Lyricon Blues. I really enjoy it. What about you?
I would say A Single Man is my number 1 because of that piano and just the tune itself is just solid, just super ripping. And then I'd put Unicorn Battle next because that mandolin is super lovely. But Lyricon is just a little too plotty to me. It kind of trudges.
So Nick, this is something we haven't done in a while. Let's take your favorite of these 3 a single man.
Uh-huh.
If a single man was
A single man.
an outfit,
Oh.
what kind of an outfit would it be?
Oh, gosh. It would be something that you would wear to like the opera or the ballet
Okay.
because of that first half. But there would be something a little like you would have like a dangly earring in your right ear or like a belt with like a lightning bolt buckle or something. Something like slightly metal, something slightly badass, but a little outdated badass.
Okay, yeah. Kind of Timothy Chalamet trying to be David Bowie going to an award ceremony.
There it is. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Yeah. For Lyricon Blues,
Yes.
if it were if it were an after dinner dessert, like just a little light something sweet, what would it be? Nothing too heavy.
No, I know exactly what it would be. A hookah full of opium.
Ride the dragon. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just a little something after dinner.
Just a snoot of the poppy, just to put you right to bed. Yeah, I get it.
Have you ever? I can't imagine.
I've
that the answer is
not
yes, but
done opium. No.
Have you ever smelled opium?
No.
It smells delicious.
Does it really?
It smells amazing.
How and when and why have you smelled opium, Omen?
My first room at Sarah Lawrence was part of a suite, so I had the double, and then there was a triple.
Say no more.
The triple was known campus-wide as the opium den.
How do you get opium anywhere? Like, how do you get opium?
You just buy it. I don't know. I never partook. But there was one weekend in particular where someone had an impressive quantity of opium and was, going through it, perfuming the hallways with it.
But I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't know how to buy pot or like over-the-counter allergy medicine. So
You probably wouldn't know if you had bought opium. You could have bought opium at some point in the past, and you would never have
What's it
known.
look like? I don't know.
I thought it was taffy.
It tasted.
I thought those were grape
It
nuts.
tasted great. And I don't remember the next 24 hours.
Nick, anything else on these wonderful instrumental tracks?
That is it for me. That's it for me. What are we doing? Oh, do you know what we're doing next week? Probably not. It's another unheard of for you.
I don't know.
It is a town in England.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've heard Tull
Yeah.
of it, but I have not listened to it. I'm excited.
It's a fun little song. It's a fun little ditty. Be sure to come back next week. I'm talking to you.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, you, Omen. Please come back next week. Until next week, I don't want just a single star. I want 5 stars in the form of a rating. And if you could, throw a review on there as well, please. Ride your unicorn into battle. Ride your unicorn into battle and wear the tabard of Talk Tull to Me, which can be purchased
That's so good.
on TeePublic. Our link is in the show notes.
If you are feeling like a single man or woman or non-binary person, you can find communion and companionship in our Discord chat, available through our Patreon page for a measly $5 a month.
That's it. That's all we ask. And until next week, I am the cloth used to shine the horn of the unicorn, Nick McGill.
I am the bastardized wooden electronic out-of-date instrument that is Omen Sade.
We are 2 single men. Our wives have gone to bed. The feckless momes.
And this is the exploding across the universe unicorn, Talk Tull to Me. Silas, saddle me my fastest steed, I must away.
Yes, master. Yes, master. Master Anderson. Yes, Master Anderson. Let me fetch you your horse. Yes, right.
Silas.
Yeah.
What's that new horse over there? Turn it around for me. Turn it around.
Yes. Here we go. Yeah. So this is a new one. Just came in. I've been feeding it hay and brushing its beautiful hair and
Dear God, Silas, what is that sticking out of its skull?
I'm not quite sure, Master Anderson. I believe it is a shining instrument.
What sort of a terrible accident has occurred here? Why is there a horse with a silver flute sticking out of its head? What is this thing?
I did hear a crash. The flute stalled just a day ago, and I believe the horse ran full headlong into it, Master.
Is it in pain? Is it going to die? What?
It does not.
Looks rather happy.
It does not seem to be. It does play quite a lovely tune when I feed it apples.
Can it still run? I mean, what the hell am I looking at, Silas?
It can. It skewered the baker's boy just this morn.
Well, to be frank, he had it coming.
He was a dick.
And he still is. And now he's dead. All right, Silas, put my blanket on this flute-headed horse creature, and I will ride off to the opium dens, as is my nightly wont.
You'll take the fluticorn out this evening.
Yes, I think so. All the opium boys will be highly impressed by it. It may even improve my luck, if you know what I mean, Silas.
Oh, that I do. Please, sir, you promised me the last time you came back from the opium den, you would follow the dragon to the podcast land and maybe tell me one day of the feckless gnomes and talk Tull to me.
That's right, Silas, as I told you on your 16th birthday all those minutes ago. You know that Doc Tull to me is a proud member of the